What's up, guys? It's SRC bringing you another episode of Throwback Thursday, formerly known as Turnback Time Thursday. Either way, we're going back and playing some old Call of Duty games. This week, we're up to Modern Warfare 2, which is a game that I actually didn't play a ton of. Looking at my stats here, I have just over 3 days played, almost 4 days played into this game, which compared to all the other Call of Duties really wasn't very much. I just kind of didn't really get the vibe of this game. I wasn't really that into it at the time, and I was playing some other games outside of Call of Duty that kind of just took my attention away from it, and it was something that maybe I got a little burnt out playing so much World at War, and then probably a little bit frustrated with some of the broken things on this game. But now going back to it after playing so much Modern Warfare 3 and going back and playing the other Call of Duties again, it really kind of puts the game back into perspective again, and it turns out it's actually a really good game. I know that a lot of people had said that this is the worst Call of Duty ever, and there are other people that said that this is the best Call of Duty ever, and I can honestly see both sides of that coin, why people would say that. Because first of all, the game isn't great, and the reason why is there's two major glaring problems that I see with it. Number one, first and foremost, absolutely, is the noob tubes. It's just ridiculous, the explosives in this game, especially on certain maps. It's just unbelievable how often you'll just have people noob tubing over and over and over, and you go to cap a flag in domination and it's losing B, and then this rain of noob tubes comes down on it. So that really just ruins the game completely. And then the other thing too is I think there's just a little bit too much sniping in the game. Now, I'm all for good snipers doing their thing, but it really kind of detracts away from the way I like to play the game if the other team has a ton of snipers. It just doesn't play out the same way, and you know, I guess to each his own, but for me there's just a little bit too much sniping in this, and you know, it's one thing that I guess you really can't help that. But the grenades to me are just a little bit too powerful as well. I just think that that's one thing Modern Warfare 3 got right, was the way that they really nerfed the tubes and made the grenades a little bit more controllable, I guess, or a little bit nerfed compared to what they've been in previous Call of Duty. So if you were able to go back into this game and tone down the tubes and the grenades, and this game would be awesome. I mean, because there's certain games where people aren't noob tubing like crazy, and it's just a ton of fun. I really, really enjoy the maps. They brought back some of the COD 4 maps when they did some of the expansions, some of the DLC, and so that's really great to play on some of those good classic maps again with this game. But unfortunately, when I came back to play it here, what had happened is I never prestiged in Modern Warfare 2. Made it all the way to level 70 and just sat there at the end, maxed out. Well, when Modern Warfare 3 came out, I wanted to get the prestige token, so I went back and I prestiged and I played one game. And so I picked it up today at level 2 and couldn't even create a class, which is a real shame because, you know, it would be nice to be able to play all the weapons or play, you know, different class setups and things like that. But I'm really, really limited here with just not having very many choices. So the gun I decided to use is the MP5, a gun that I probably never touched when I played the game the last time around, and it kind of makes me reflect back on the time that I did play this and how uneducated I was when it came to Call of Duty. I kind of just picked up the controller, went into the game and just kind of did my thing and tried to do well with it. Went based on guns, just kind of based on how they felt to me at the time, and really had no clue what the community thought about weapons, what the community thought about certain class setups. And like the FAMAS as an example, I never used that gun in Modern Warfare 2, but it's a good gun. I mean, that if you ask the community as a consensus, they would say the FAMAS is one of the best guns in Modern Warfare 2. And to me, it plays very similar to the Type 95. It's a 3-burst assault rifle. It even looks pretty similar in this game. So, you know, that's something that would take some getting used to, I guess, is to be a little bit more educated again, to find out what the actual proper weapons that would give me a little bit of an advantage would be to use, as opposed to just grabbing like an M4 and just using it. Now, I picked up the SCAR today and I thought it was terrible. I only played it for one game though, so I don't know, but to me in Modern Warfare 3 the SCAR is a much better weapon than it was in Modern Warfare 2. So I have no clue what the good weapons are. I heard I think that the UMP45 was really good in Modern Warfare 2, and I really enjoyed it playing it here. I actually put rapid fire on it. I don't think I have it on yet, but in one of the games I finally unlocked rapid fire for it, and it actually didn't seem like it was any better. It almost had more recoil, which was kind of a negative more than a positive of having rapid fire. But one cool thing about Modern Warfare 2 is that the SMGs, you can use akimbo. So I had akimbo UMP45s, and the weird thing is I kind of remember that back in the day when I played the game and thought that they were terrible, and you never see anybody, at least I haven't seen anyone else using akimbo SMGs in this game, so I'm thinking that they're not that great, but I put them on for a game and they're just ridiculous because you're so used to using the FMG9s in Modern Warfare 3 that you bust out the akimbo UMP45s, and it's actually a really good time. Now, it's probably not as effective as just using one of them and aiming down sight. It's a little more erratic, but it's so much fun that it just takes away from it, that you don't even care that, you know, you died, because it's just so satisfying when you kill somebody with those things. And then the shotguns are secondaries in Modern Warfare 2, which is kind of disappointing actually, to go back and not be able to just pick, I want to run a shotgun class. You can't do it. It has to be a secondary, which on the flip side is nice that you can have a shotgun as your secondary. So I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of wish that there was maybe like one shotgun as a secondary option, and then still a whole class setup of actual primary shotguns where you could put different attachments or proficiencies on them. But the akimbo, I believe it's the model 1887s, are just ridiculous. I mean, you walk into a room, and if you get within a couple of feet of somebody with those things, you are just toast. It's really crazy, and that's something that is pretty cool to see too, I guess, and something that they don't have in Modern Warfare 3. So I kind of like the idea, just because I like to try different guns and different setups and things, that they have so much variety in this game. There's so many different setups that you can run, even just within like the submachine gun class setup. So that's one thing that's pretty interesting to me. And the other thing that, now that I just, you know, see myself getting blown up by a claymore, is that's the other thing that was a problem with this game, is that you can refill claymores and things with Scavengers. So there was a game on the one with the airport. I can't think of the name of it at the moment, but there was a guy in the airplane, and he would just put a claymore down, he'd get a kill with it, he'd put a claymore in the same spot, and he was just killing our team over and over and over again. And then somebody would finally get smart enough to flash the claymore, and he'd be sitting behind the seats on the plane and shoot him dead, and then somebody else would walk over the claymore. So, you know, that claymore abuse is a little ridiculous with this game, but on the surface, or I guess I should say more to the core of the game, is it's a really good game. The graphics look really good. The maps are really nice. The guns seem fairly balanced to where, you know, you can pretty much play with the different guns. The only other thing I don't really like about this game is the fact that you pretty much need to use stopping power. If you don't, you're at a definite disadvantage, I think, against somebody who is using stopping power. That's another thing that Modern Warfare 3 got right, was taking out stopping power and just making the guns kind of play like they have stopping power on them. So, you know, that's something that I ran every single game tonight, was having stopping power on. And I think from what my friend said and just kind of the feedback I've gotten is that that's kind of the way the game plays out, is that you kind of are disadvantaged if you're not using it. And, you know, some people will counter to that and say, well, then you're not using perks to keep you off the radar if you're using stopping power, which is a good point. I mean, you know, it's definitely nice to be disadvantaged if you want to go off the radar, but at the same time, I just don't know that you want to have all these different potential perks and have that slot be essentially useless because you want to have stopping power all the time. So I like to see the flexibility and being able to choose different perks and have different perks as a viable option. So I don't know, that's what I think of this game so far, playing it for a night. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Modern Warfare 2, and if it's a game you'd like to see me come back to in the future and continue to play on a little bit once I eventually get some kill streaks unlocked and maybe a few more weapons and that type of thing. But definitely leave a comment below. I always appreciate your feedback. I read every comment you guys leave, and it definitely is helpful when you guys give me feedback. So that's it for this game, guys. 37-21 is the final score. Appreciate you watching, and as always, I will see you in the game.